Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be giving our review. Already smiling. Going to be giving our review for a Netflix documentary that came out last year called American Murder: The Family Next Door.
It's the Chris Watts case.
Yeah, it's the Chris Watts case from Colorado?
Yeah.
From Colorado. She followed this pretty closely when it happened, I would say.
Like I do with all major true crime.
She'd been wanting to see this since it dropped on Netflix, knowing you.
Yeah. And he was always like, no, I don't want to watch it.
Well, I don't know if we had Netflix.
We've had it for
last
at least
year,
a
did
year,
we?
yeah.
Have we?
Yeah.
But I don't know, we just never got around to it, and for some reason tonight I was wanting to watch something, and I was like, why not? Let's just watch this, because I knew it'd be something that you should get invested into and enjoy, if that's what weird to say, but
I know what you mean,
though. So this is just basically a fairly short documentary, under 2 hours, I think.
Yeah.
And just showing live footage, police cam footage.
Real interviews,
yeah,
everything.
Everything was real. Nothing was
by actors or anything.
Yeah. Which I did enjoy, because
I love that part of it.
I hate sometimes when they get actors to reenact the stuff. I like rather more seeing it than seeing a reenactment of it.
I also like it because not all the time, but I know when something major like this happens, sometimes depending on the case, they'll do like interview after interview, or there'll be breaking news after news story after news story. It sort of gets confusing sometimes, and there's a lot of back and forth on what the person did or said in an interview, and then you have to go back and watch it like a million times to see what people are talking about in case you didn't catch it. So I like the fact that when they put everything in there, one, it came out long enough after everything to where it's still not going to be all over the place, but also they did it to where they showed the full entire footage of each interview, each press release, everything. So you got to see exactly what happened.
For the most part, I say there was to me, and because you talked about this case, which I may give my viewpoints on the case and stuff, just not since I've watched this. Yeah. But first to talk about the documentary before I give my thoughts on the case. I think that this documentary done pretty good. It definitely kept me invested. I think they could have went and gave us a little bit more, but I don't know how much was available because where they were doing it basically all from real point of views, like real videos and stuff. I don't know how much more they could have got.
They showed us pretty much everything.
But they kind of like jump, 3 months later towards the end and stuff like that. So could they went a little deeper?
Well, that's because they were waiting for his court date.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how long the court case lasted. She knows more about that stuff than I do. She keeps up with more of that stuff than I do, because I'm not really invested in the true crime stuff like that. But, I mean, if that's how quick the case went, and that's basically how it went, then I guess this documentary done the best it could.
I think, because I've watched a bunch of different true crime documentaries and stuff, this, and I mean this in a bad way because what happened to the girls is horrible, but this is the best documentary based on one real life true crime thing that I've seen. Usually they don't usually put a lot of the the real life footage in there, and I like how in this one they even showed all of the text between them, so you get an idea of what her personality was like too, because usually they just It's one-sided because obviously he killed the girls, but on the other end of it, not saying this is an excuse because it's not, but in her text, she seems sort of like bitchy. So I feel like that probably didn't help the situation, but I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm glad he got life, but I mean, I think overall this was a solid film, and I didn't really see much wrong with it.
I mean, I don't know how you rate a documentary, but if you had to rate the documentary, but I guess you still can technically rate a documentary.
Yeah, still a movie.
I mean, what would you rate this documentary compared to other documentaries that you've seen?
I would do a 5 out of 5.
I can't rate it though because I don't watch documentaries.
Yeah, he's not a documentary person. I am though. I would rate it a 5 out of 5. And I feel like there were a couple moments where I almost cried. One is where I know there was like maybe 3 altogether. I don't remember which part the first one was at, but I remember the second part was when he was talking about what one of the little girls said as he was hurting them or putting them in the oil tank or whatever. And that was really sad. And then when you see the dad's reaction when the judge sentences him to life. That one was the one that got me the most. But
not Chris Watt, but the actual dad to the
the actual dad to the wife. He was just all tore up, but I think this was a really solid film. And I'm surprised Netflix did it because I'm not a big fan of Netflix movies. But this one was good.
I mean, this was definitely good. Like I said, I'm not going to rate it because I don't watch enough documentaries to compare it to other documentaries. I'll just say it was really good. I think it gave enough detail, showed you enough stuff. I will say, just to sort of give my viewpoint now on my thoughts on the case after seeing the documentary for it. This guy was, and this may sound weird, but this guy was very unprepared for what he done. He did not cover his steps anywhere near good. I mean, you look at some other murderers like Scott Peterson and Drew Peterson and all these other kind of big time ones, and
but I feel like got caught, but they were more prepared.
Yeah, but they were more prepared. Which Drew Peterson was a police officer, right?
Yeah, he was on the
So that was a little bit different situation compared to this. But I think he was very not prepared. So whether he done this intentionally, whether he done this, accidentally, or just kind of did it before he was ready, like, whatever, I don't know, whatever went through his mind.
Like you said when we were watching it, that it almost seems like he didn't plan ahead of time, like obviously it's premeditated, but you know what I mean, like way in advance, because it seems like the way he was acting and everything, he wasn't expecting anybody to show up at the house or anything like that. So it makes me think, along with obviously you, that maybe he killed him, went to bury him or put him in tanks, whatever, and then he came back to stage it as she ran off with the girls and then didn't have time to do it.
I don't know what, I mean, he said that it happened, because right after they had sex or whatever, and he just kind of strangled her. But who really knows how he did it, or what, why he did it. He could be telling,
the point is he did it.
The point is he did it. But he didn't cover his steps, his tracks really well. He was not prepared.
Which has nothing against the movie. It's just him.
No. I mean, it's a documentary, so you can't fault that. I mean, that's just his his unpreparedness for this situation.
And he got caught like really fast.
Yeah.
Because he got called in for a polygraph and failed it within like 3 days of them missing.
Yeah, I mean, because he screwed up from the beginning because he didn't hide the purse, he didn't hide the phone. He left those there.
And then he was acting weird.
He changed his demeanor too much. And like she was saying when they were showing the text, yes, she did come off as kind of bossy, controlling, bitchy, if you want to say. But, I mean, that don't give a person the right to kill anybody, especially their own kids.
Even the person doing the documentary or whatever, like doing the voiceover, at the end said, why not just divorce instead of hurt them?
I mean, he should, because he was already supposed to be going through a separation, because that's...
They weren't, but that's what he had told his
girlfriend. That's what he told his mistress.
So it would have been definitely believable.
Yeah, he should have just went through the divorce, unless it's because they couldn't, even if you can't afford the divorce, at least you could separate.
Yeah.
And divorce when you get the money.
Yeah.
But
you can be legally separated, not divorced.
Yeah. So I mean, why he chose to go the route of killing them, I mean, I don't know.
Because unless he literally just didn't want any ties to anything to be with his new girlfriend. That's the only.
I mean, because they could have still dated.
Yeah.
And him being separated, and then they just couldn't have gotten married until he divorced her. And it was final. But I don't see him having gotten married that quickly anyways.
No.
So he could have, I think, easily just separated from her. So something pushed him over the edge. Like I said, she was not the nicest person in the world in the text.
I would say that he's just like psychotic, but he can't be because he failed the polygraph.
I mean, I don't know.
Usually those are the only people that can beat it.
I don't know what made him, we'll never know truly what made him snap. But, it didn't give him a right to kill them, or especially the kids. I think he was planning on doing it. I just think it happened. Maybe it happened quicker than he expected. Maybe she said something because they were talking about the conversation. He was talking about the conversation they were having. Maybe some of that conversation just pushed him over the edge, and he went too soon. He killed her. He killed her too soon and wasn't prepared, and that's why this went down. Because that's the way I think it happened. I think she said something that made him snap, and he killed her before he meant to kill her. And so,
I think he was still planning it either way.
Yeah, I think he was planning it, but I think he snapped and done it too soon. And he wasn't ready. Yeah, he didn't get his plan ready.
Because she said that he was acting real distant, he wasn't doing anything with her.
That was from, of course, the cheating. He was getting on the side, so he didn't love her no more. He didn't want to be real, intimate with her as much and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think he had planned it. I think he planned it. I think it just happened too quick. I think it happened before he wanted it to.
Also, the morning that the cops showed up, because her friends couldn't get a hold of her all morning or whatever, she was supposed to have a baby doctor appointment, and she missed it. I think that's what prompted, because I think that's why initially the friends came over. So if she wouldn't have had that appointment, they probably wouldn't have found her until a couple days later. Or knew about her missing until a couple days later.
Me personally, I don't think he would have killed the kids
if they didn't see.
If he didn't kill the mom when he did. I think had he have done it probably as planned, because in my head I'm thinking he's probably planned this for when the kids were at school or the kids were away somewhere.
But the kids ended up walking in right after he killed the mom, so that sort of leaves them as witnesses, and they're little, so they're not going to keep a secret.
So he had to get rid of the witnesses. I think, wrong place, wrong time for the kids.
Yeah.
Because
it's very unfortunate for them. They were so cute.
Because I truly don't think he would have killed them. He wanted to kill them. I think he wanted to take the kids with him to be with the new woman. But I just, like I said, I think his plan went too fast before he was ready because of whatever was said after they had their moment together in bed. And he snapped accidentally, went too far, killed her too soon, and then the kids were in the house as witnesses, so he had to get rid of them, even though he didn't want to.
And obviously, with the way he was talking, you can tell that he wouldn't have cared about her being pregnant because the baby's not technically born yet.
Well, you could tell he wasn't even extremely invested in the new baby. Yeah. You could tell he wasn't, because he's like, oh yeah, you could tell the way he was saying things. He wasn't truly invested in having a third child. I think he just wanted his two, and then that was enough. I mean, he said, plus I think he wanted a girl, because he said something about it being a girl. He seemed like he was pretty invested on having girls, and it ended up being a boy.
Yeah.
So I don't think he really cared much about the unborn child as he did his daughters. I think he really loved his daughters, but like I said, I think it was wrong place, wrong time, and he killed the mom too soon, and it all went downhill, and he had to kill the kids and not wanting to, because, I mean, it's just like our daughter. Our daughter can't keep anything, hide anything. She tells anything can blurt out of her mouth.
Or if she doesn't come out and specifically tell you, she'll be like, I got a secret.
Yeah.
And you're like...
Or you can see if she tries to lie, you can tell she's lying.
Yeah, you can tell she's lying.
Or
that something's off, and that's usually when she's lying too. So,
I mean, the kids obviously wouldn't have kept the secret, Granted, they didn't see him kill the mom, but they could say, they could still gave him away.
Over Mommy and Mommy.
We wrapped her up in a blanket, and he took her out to the desert and buried her, and blah, 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 So, it's just unfortunate that, it went the way it did, but, just separate. I mean, he should, like I said, even if, let's just say he hadn't planned it, okay? Let's just say he hadn't planned it. He was actually going to divorce her. Let's say that was the case. He actually was going to divorce her or separate from her. That was his plan, and he would get either split custody or sole custody of the kids.
They would have had to get in a really heated argument and her say something.
That's what I'm fixing to say. If he did not mean to kill her, which is a possibility, if he did want to divorce and or separate from her,
and it was out of anger, just in the moment,
and he snapped and saw red, as some people does, then it's unfortunate, but it happens. I mean, it happens all the time. People see red, they do stuff, they say stuff. And that it could have been the case. It could have been the case where he wasn't going to kill her. He didn't mean to kill her.
We are in no way defending him, though.
No. Like I said, separate, divorce.
We're just trying to think of other scenarios that could have happened.
But, I'm just saying it could have been not him. He could not have had it premeditated.
Yeah.
I mean, he did. I mean, he said in the documentary that it was in his mind. It was implanted in his mind, and he wanted to get it out of his mind.
Yeah.
But, so, I don't know. It could go either way. But either way, I do think it happened too quickly. I think it happened sooner than he wanted it to, and that's why nothing was prepared. I don't think that's why he had anything prepared, and I think that's why he had to kill the kids. And
the only other thing about him that it was stupid on his part was he admitted, he confessed, and then he goes back and supposedly, later on, in between that and his court date, and he ends up telling them that he didn't do it, didn't have anything to do with it. But that doesn't make any sense, because in the first interview, after the polygraph test, after that part, he ends up telling them where all the bodies are located. So if he didn't have any part of it, why did he know where the bodies were? Like, he just was making up stuff at that point. It made no sense.
Yeah. I definitely think that he screwed up. No matter what, this shouldn't have gone down the way it did. Nobody should have got killed. They should have just separated. They should have just divorced. Was she the nicest person ever? No. I mean, let's not try to act like she's some saint, because from what they showed in the documentary with the text and stuff, she wasn't the nicest person to live with. It wasn't, or the easiest person to live with. So.
But not for 1 minute, even when I was first hearing about this case, did I ever believe that she had hurt those girls, because you can easily tell.
That's the thing, like, his story with the whole, she smothered the girls and he walked in on her and they were blue and he choked her out of anger and to do her what she did to them. I told her that would not make any sense, because
what reason?
There's no motive for her to kill the kids. It wasn't like she was
as far as we know, she wasn't struggling with mental illness. So it kind of.
Well, I mean, she had lupus or whatever.
She had lupus.
And sometimes people can struggle with some mental illness, but I mean, there was some,
But like, she didn't have a long history of it. Like, it wasn't recorded.
No, there was never nothing recorded saying she had a long history of mental illness.
Even if she did have mental illness, there was nothing to prove that. But I mean, you could easily tell she loved those girls, though. I don't think she would have ever hurt them.
No, that was,
And then he goes on to say that he thinks that she was kidnapped once he can sense that they're edging on to him.
But it had to be somebody she knew.
Yeah, but he even said himself it had to be someone that she knew. So it's like,
I mean, he just wasn't ready. I mean, I seriously think if he planned on killing her, if he did plan on doing that, it just happened quicker than he wanted it to. He snapped for whatever, he snapped and killed her, and he didn't mean to right then in that moment. And he just wasn't ready. He wasn't prepared. He didn't have everything set up and ready to go. Like I said, because this case, he's definitely, out of everything I've watched that she's watched or seen that, know of that she talks about, he's definitely the most unprepared one that I think I've seen. Because, I mean, let's look at cases like, what's her face that killed her daughter?
Casey Anthony.
I mean, good Lord,
she got away with it.
She got away with it.
I'm just saying.
Friggin', it took how long for that case? How long did it take for Scott Peterson, Drew Peterson, Jodi Arias, all these other big name killers?
Because they didn't admit to it. Chris admitted to it, so it went really fast.
He admitted to it because he didn't know where to go. He wasn't prepared. That's why I was getting at. All these others were prepared, and they was able to extend it out longer. They had their stories. They had, I'm
just saying, in general, that's why it went faster. Is because he admitted they didn't have to do a trial.
Yeah, because he wasn't ready. He wasn't prepared.
He wasn't ready. So he didn't really have a good story.
No, he didn't have nothing ready to tell the cops. He was just trying to make it up on the fly, and nothing was making sense, and they knew nothing was making sense.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I would definitely say, if you have interest in the case, to check the documentary out. It definitely shows, it's definitely not one-sided. It definitely shows her not being the nicest person in the world.
Which is good. They need to show both sides to everything. I will say that I don't understand. I'm sorry. Anybody that's a murderer, or unless it was literally pure self-defense, or rapists, molesters, whatever. I don't understand how you can stand there in the courtroom after your son or daughter, whoever, has just admitted to the crimes they committed, and then say you forgive them. Like, I'm sorry. No. I know they say you have to forgive to move on, but that's not the case, trust me.
Well, that was her own son, so...
I don't care.
I'm just saying, that was her own son, so... I don't know. I mean,
I wouldn't be like if Dawson or Addison got in trouble for something like that.
Hmm.
I wouldn't forgive them. Like if it was, especially if it was family they killed.
you never know what your mindset's going to be like in that situation.
No, I'd be like, you got yourself in this mess. You can work it out.
And I think that's why too. It doesn't show him in the documentary when they're interviewing and stuff. They don't show him necessarily. They don't really show him choked up crying until
they don't.
I think he
They
doesn't
do
get
at the
choked up
sentencing.
and cry until the sentencing, and when he finally realizes that he can't get his story straight. His
Yeah,
life
because then he
straight,
breaks down
and
over
then he
stress,
breaks
and it's
down.
like
But when he's talking about it, you could, and I think
he
one
even laughed in
reason-
one of the interviews. Like,
I think he didn't cry for a couple reasons. I think one, because he didn't really love her anyways.
yeah,
But I think two is because he was not fully focused, because he was trying to figure out, okay, what's my story going to be?
yeah,
Because, like I said, he wasn't prepared, so his mind's focused
all
on
over everything else.
yeah, everything, and the story, and that's why he was fidgeting it a lot, and that's why he wasn't himself,
because
he was
you could
trying to
tell
get
he
the
wasn't
story
expecting
straight.
that cop to be there.
Yeah, he couldn't just do this. He couldn't do it calmly because it was like heat of the moment, rapid pace, rapid fire, and he had to try to figure this out. He was shutting down, not being himself. So, but yeah, like I said, definitely check this out if you're interested in the case. It does really well. It shows both sides. It makes them both out to be not the nicest people in the world. Again, you hate to see it come to this. For people. I mean, just get divorced, separate if it gets to that point. I mean, if you're contemplating killing your spouse,
That's not a good sign.
it's time to go. It's time to pack up and leave. But anything else you want to say on this documentary?
No.
Is that everything?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's everything for this review of this documentary. So please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified for all our videos, and we will see you all in the next one.